Hello everyone, welcome to another show of Relentless Reviews. I'm your host as always, Joshua Englander, and today I am doing a little bit of a different review. Today I'm going to be reviewing a TV show, and I'm going to say right now, first of all, TV shows are not usually the kind of things I like to review. I don't really like to watch many shows out there. I understand that there are a lot of good TV shows out there, even right now. It's just that a lot of them don't interest me that much, and you have to invest so much time into really reviewing them and getting into them. So I tend to just review movies for that sake, and video games, of course. But this show is different, and I really want to talk about the show. Many people already know about this show from HBO. It's called Game of Thrones, and it's been airing since April of 2011, and it is a spectacular series, and I am so invested into it. It is probably the best show I have ever watched on television. Thank you, HBO. So first of all, how is it compared to other epic fantasies out there? I mean, you got Lord of the Rings. A lot of people are comparing it to that. I mean, compared to something like that, is it as epic and amazing as the books apparently are, which I have not read? I mean, how is the acting? I mean, you got people like Peter Dinklage. You got Sean Bean. I'm a huge fan of Sean Bean. You got people like Lena Headey, and a lot of young actors and actresses showing off their abilities. How do they all play out, and do they really seem believable in these roles? Also, how is the action? I mean, HBO has not had a great reputation for doing action fantasy-like TV shows in the past. Do they pull it off here with Game of Thrones? And overall, does the 10 episodes a season really make it feel like it's worth it? Is the value there? And is it a show worth investing in? Well, let's check out the trailer.
In the name of Robert of the House Baratheon, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, I, Eddard, sentence you to die.
The king rides for Winterfell with the queen and all the rest of them.
Lord Eddard Stark, I would name you the Hand of the King. We were meant to rule together.
You worry too much.
You should be the Hand of the King. Everyone who isn't us is an enemy. I want to go home.
They took it from us. We go home with an army.
There's a war coming, Ned. I don't know when, I don't know who we'll be fighting, but it's coming.
Who but you can protect the king? I'll try to keep you alive for her sake.
Winter is coming. This one will be long, and dark things will come with it.
You were trained to follow.
I was trained to kill.
My dear brother, there are times you make me wonder whose side you're on.
You killed me. Your brother's a dead man.
I know they did it. In my bones, I know it.
Do you think honor keeps them in line? Do you think it's honor that's keeping the peace? It's fear. Fear and blood.
When winter does come, gods help us all if we're not ready.
So I'm going to begin reviewing Season 1 first. Now, Season 1, it starts off, I mean, again, this is slightly, if you haven't watched the show, I wouldn't worry too much about what I'm going to talk about, but just be warned, if there is something I do spoil accidentally, I'm sorry, but I feel like at this point, many of you might have already watched the show. So, here we go. First of all, the acting is spectacular. Everyone in their roles, I'm not going to list everyone here, but Peter Dinklage, who won an Emmy for this, his role as Tyrion Lannister in the show, is spectacular. He is just as great as everyone's been saying he is. You've got people like Sean Bean, who I'm a huge fan of, and he was in Lord of the Rings, ironically. He is spectacular here as Ned Stark, or Eddard Stark. You've got other people, Lena Headey, who isn't a huge name, but she is absolutely mind-blowing as Cersei Lannister. Every scene pretty much she partakes in, she absolutely steals. Mark Addy as Robert Baratheon, the king in Season 1. He's absolutely spectacular as well. I love his voice. His voice is something I hope to mimic someday. But anyway, so the acting in general is really spectacular. The young actors, you've got Kit Harington playing a character named Jon Snow, who I know later on is going to be a huge factor in the show. He is spectacular, and honestly, I hope to see more of him and all these other actors and actresses coming in other movies and such. Also you've got a great sense of mystery in Season 1, and what I mean by that is that there isn't really a lot of action in Season 1, especially compared to Season 2, which I will talk about in a moment. but there's that great sense of mystery, and you're trying to figure out these characters, especially for people who haven't read the books like I have, or haven't rather, and it's just a great sense of mystery there. You really are trying to study every character and trying to figure out what has made them the way they are. I mean, that is just a spectacular way to show it. I mean, the dialogue is spectacular. I mean, for the producers and writers, the way they wrote this script, and I know George R.R. Martin, the author of the books of Game of Thrones, helped write the script for the show, and it really shows. The lines, some of them are just absolutely amazing, and they're so fun to watch. Some of the face-offs that characters have, dialogue-wise, is extremely entertaining in itself, really fun to watch. And again, like I said, the mystery of Season 1 is so interesting, and by the end of it, you are absolutely amazed at how the story is going, and you really want to watch more. It's hard when the last episode of Season 1 ends, and you're waiting for Season 2 to start off. So Season 1 overall, I'm going to give a score for each season. So Season 1 is absolutely spectacular. I have pretty much nothing wrong with it that I can think of off the bat. I think it does deserve a perfect 10 out of 10, and it's just so amazing to watch these characters and how you come to know them, especially for people who haven't read the books. If you have read the books, I still feel like this is entertaining as hell, and I feel like just overall the mystery for people who are just watching the show is worth it alone, and figuring out the characters' backgrounds this season, and you can sort of figure it out as they go along here, is so interesting, and you really find out what each character's motivation is, and if it still is a mystery by the end of Season 1, then you just want to start watching Season 2 so you can hopefully figure out more about these characters. So I absolutely love Season 1. It really got me hooked onto the show to begin with. So, now on to Season 2, which did premiere this year on April 2012, and Season 3, of course, coming next year in March. I'll be doing a review for that. But Season 2, now, this is a spoiler alert right here, so if you haven't watched Season 2, I hate to tell you this, but you probably should stop watching the video now. After Ned Stark's death at the end of Season 1, and shocking a lot of viewers out there, even ones who have read the books, a lot of people felt like it was a huge risk for HBO to make that kind of commitment, but they did it anyways. They went with the books, and I really applaud them for that. But anyways, so you see a lot of new characters, but you also see a lot of the old characters really groom out if they didn't in Season 1. For example, Richard Madden, who plays Robb Stark, his character is not really fleshed out in Season 1. You see glimpses of him here and there, but he's not really shown that much. In Season 2, with his father's death, he really takes a big role in the season, and he really shows off a lot of what his character is like and how he was shown growing up. Peter Dinklage, again, acting-wise, is absolutely spectacular, and he's shown a lot more in Season 2, and for good reason. He really steals the show in almost every scene he's in, particularly some of the dialogue between him and a character named Varys is really fun to watch alone in Season 2, but he's spectacular in just about any scene he's in with any character he's in, which is amazing. Also, the acting in general, like I said, still spectacular as always. The writing is still fantastic, and they're probably the thing that, if you are a huge fan of action, you're going to like Season 2 more. There is a lot more action going on in Season 2. Obviously, the realm is at war. There's, I believe, 6 or 7 kingdoms, independent kingdoms that are now fighting for the Iron Throne. One of them is Stannis Baratheon, another Robb Stark, and so on. And it's really interesting to see how these kings sort of deal with the aspect and the pressure of all their people to rise and take the Iron Throne, while a character named Joffrey, played by Jack Gleeson, who is fantastic as well, holds on to that throne. So there's a lot more action. The realm is at war, as I said. And there's a lot more characters. I want to mention a few more characters on here. Jon Snow, who also, like Robb Stark, didn't play a huge role in Season 1. Yeah, he probably played a bigger role than Robb Stark did, but you still see his character really flesh out in Season 2. Also, Arya Stark, played by Maisel Williams. She is fantastic in Season 2. She has a lot of scenes to work with. Now, I do believe they fixed, or not really fixed, but changed some of her scenes and what she goes through in the second book compared to Season 2. But it really works out well, and all the scenes she's in are really interesting and really well done, and she really gets fleshed out as a character as well. And, you know, also, the only thing I would say that Season 2 has that I really kind of had a problem with was a Daenerys Targaryen story. Now, Daenerys, another character I forgot to mention, she's played by actress Emilia Clarke, who is just out of acting school and got this role, and it really shows why HBO gave her this role. She's spectacular. However, her story in Season 2, especially compared to Season 1, is really not that interesting for the most part. I mean, yeah, if you like her character in a lot of ways, but the things she goes through in Season 2, you weren't really looking forward to that as much as, say, some of the other scenes that were going on in Season 2. And hopefully in Season 3, they'll make her story a lot more interesting again, but she still is fantastic as Daenerys Targaryen, and I can't wait to see more of her in Season 3. And finally, let me just say, the ending to Season 2 is absolutely spectacular. It's just, you cannot wait for Season 3. Once you see the ending to Season 2, you just, it's so perfect. It's an absolute, like, I'm even stuttering words to explain it. It's just so amazing, and I'm not going to spoil it here. And you just have to, if you haven't seen the ending yet to Season 2, you have to watch it. That alone makes this season fantastic, and it is an amazing, epic way to end the season. So, overall, Season 2, not quite, I'd say, as good as Season 1, but almost as good, like, literally only off by a little bit. And that's really impressive to have two straight impressive seasons to start a show. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Not quite, like, it's literally just under, not quite as interesting as Season 1, but still spectacular to watch. So, overall, Game of Thrones, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. I love the show so much right now. It is probably my favorite show I have ever seen, and I just can't wait for Season 3. I'm sure you guys would definitely agree, for those who have watched the show or even just read the books. It's such an interesting story, and Game of Thrones really goes to prove once again that when done right, a story taking place in a fantasy place, a fantasy realm, a universe, whatever you want to call it, is definitely the most interesting story to tell on a movie screen, on a TV screen, or even a book. When done right, it is the most interesting way to tell a story. And Game of Thrones has proven that. I mean, Lord of the Rings has proven that. Other stories have proven that. And Game of Thrones is just another example. And I love the show. So comment below and tell me, guys, which character is your favorite right now? I think for me, I'd probably have to say Tyrion is my favorite, although personally I relate mostly to Robb Stark, considering he's the oldest in the family, which I am as well. I'm the oldest son in the family. So, but Tyrion has definitely got to be my favorite. I'm sure a lot of you will agree with that. But comment below and tell me which one is your favorite character. If you're new to Relentless Reviews, hit that subscribe button above me for more movie reviews, video game reviews, and debates, and so forth. Just subscribe to that button. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. So, that's another show of Relentless Reviews. I'm your host, as always, Joshua Englander. Remember to subscribe, like I said, and as always, and we'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you for watching.